Newly released documents reportedly showing former FBI Deputy Director Andrew McCabe apologized to investigators for changing his story about leaking to the press. Back in 2017, McCabe telling investigators he didn't know how info on an FBI probe into the Clinton Foundation wound up in a Wall Street Journal article. But then a few months later, he acknowledged, in fact, he did authorize the leak of that information. The Daily Beast reporting an FBI agent's account of pressing McCabe on this during an internal interview, saying, quote, "I said, sir, you understand we've put a lot of work into this based on what you told us," the agent said. He goes on to say, "I mean, and I even said long nights, weekends working on this, trying to find out who amongst your ranks of trusted people would do something like that." And he kind of just looked down, kind of nodded and said, "Yeah, I'm sorry." Now McCabe faces possible criminal prosecution for misleading investigators about that leak. Melissa, I want to go to you first. Do you buy that was an apology? Was that like a non-apology apology? What was that?
I mean,
does apologizing for lying to an investigator matter anyway? Does it count for anything?
It seems to depend on the day and the time and the administration and the party that you're for, because we've seen very different kind of punishment for this kind of thing one way or the other, depending on where you are. And I guess that's what bothers me about all of these stories, is you say, well, was losing his job enough for what he did? And then you look at how punishment hasn't been handed out evenly to different people, right?
It also wasn't a political firing, in the way that James Comey's firing has been argued, that happened by President Trump directly. This was kind of like a group of, there was this investigator general search. I mean, look into what happened.
Yes, a dual-prong investigation that not only recommended that he be removed from his job, but also referred for a criminal investigation. And you still have an outstanding investigation with a U.S. attorney that, has subpoena power and may, in fact, bring in a totally different set of charges based on the circumstances. If you're going to send some people to prison, to federal prison, for lying to investigators, there has to be uniformity here. And it shouldn't be based on who's in power, who you've donated to, who your wife got money from. It should be a standard set of rules that's applied to everybody, whether or not you're the deputy director of the FBI or you're working in the president's national security inner circle.
So let's compare and contrast for a second, because Andy McCabe and Jim Comey before him have become kind of boogeymen to a lot of conservatives in this country. Jim Comey, interestingly, kind of apologized like 2 weeks ago. He admitted that he was wrong about the FISA process.
Yeah, he was aware of what was going on.
Aware of what these, and a lot of folks I've spoken to who have been very critical of Comey said that actually meant something. They think that was a sincere effort to kind of
no.
Why does it
compare that to this?
He said it wasn't. He relied on a process that it turned out after decades wasn't robust enough.
He believed in the integrity of the process.
Why are we okay? So I think the point you two made right here is the spot on one. Why is it throughout this entire process that if you've worked with Trump, you've supported Trump, or you're around Trump, then no matter what, we're throwing the absolute book at you with the full weight of everything we have, as we mentioned in the break. Michael Flynn, Papadopoulos, Carter Page, Paul Manafort. Take a list. If you worked with them, any initial crime or secondary crime, we're coming after you. But if you're Andy McCabe or you're Jim Comey and you were sincere about it, you apologize and you're sorry, then we should just look the other way or move on to the next administration.
But that's not true, because both of them got fired. There are consequences.
But there's
this is book deals and speaking engagements.
No, they didn't. That's because Trump himself stepped in on the case of Jim Comey and Andy McCabe. In that instance, even then, it took a lot of pressure for that to happen. And we'll see if lying to investigators is part of what he ultimately is, in addition to that, accountable for. I just think there are a lot of people that see that double standard for Democrats and folks on the left, or careerists in these departments, versus people who've supported the president.
I think it's a bad look to be talking about Paul Manafort as the victim of anything. And Rick Gates, by the way, who worked for President Trump, has gotten a pretty good deal out of this. And he has flipped on a lot of people. Michael Cohen, who committed a ton of crimes throughout his tenure working for President Trump, I think he gets 3 years in jail, right, when that would have been an extraordinarily larger amount of time. The apologies, as a Democrat, do not matter to me. I did not take what Jim Comey said as to be all that authentic. He had his back up against a wall once everything came out about the FISA process and had to say something. I think there is a large appetite, no matter what your political affiliation is, to stop seeing these people's faces, whether it's that you're upset about what happened in 2016 or since then. And that's my feeling about McCabe.
I think when there's accountability and justice, we won't see them anymore. And the book can finally be closed.
Well, Jim Comey, no one would argue that Jim Comey should be going to jail. He's going to continue. He'll probably write another book. And
I can't wait to see what the next report is.
All right, guys, we got to leave it there. It's worth noting that McCabe's lawyer says all of this is just part of President Trump's war on the FBI. So chew over that.